when we're back. So we are tying up probably my favorite dry fly pattern for the San Juan or tailwaters alike. This is basically just a black midge cluster. The midges are going to hatch, and then once there's enough of them, they're going to sort of group together and they're going to make a clump, and that's what this is going to cover. I'm going to be tying this on a TMC 101. This is a size 20. You can tie this on any hook alike. For the hackle, I like to use black. I find that this works a lot better for me than using the grizzly hackle, mostly because the grizzly hackle is going to be more of a grayish shade because it has a lot of white. I like this because it's simple and it just performs better for me. If you fished with me before, you know I like to use a lot of UV. On this particular one, I'm going to substitute the UV flash for the regular Mirage, just because it's going to give it a little bit more visibility. I'm just going to get in here with a little bit of Semperfli Nano Silk. This is brown. It really doesn't matter what color you use because it's going to get covered up. We're going to start some wraps. I'm going to just start right behind the head. I'm going to wrap this rearward. I'll stop right about there, halfway to the point or so. I'll trim that up. Now the next thing is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add in my hackle. The best way I found to do this is to start from the rear where the stem is. I'm going to pull those fibers forward and then pluck them off, just like that. So with that stem, I'm going to tie that in. I'm going to try to keep my thread flat so I don't build up too much bulk. And I'll wrap just past where the barb is. And then I'll wrap back forward. Now, the real magic of this fly comes in with the Mirage. One of the issues with fishing on a river like the San Juan when you're throwing dry flies is you're going to have a lot of competition on the water. And where there's a lot of competition, and what I mean by that is there's a lot of bugs on the water. And if you're matching the hatch really well, your flies are going to blend in with them. And, you know, you want your flies to stand out because you want to give the fish a reason to check yours out instead of the other 10,000 that are floating on the water. So what I did was I cut 2 strips off. You can just use one, doesn't matter. It's just fly tying. And then I'm going to wrap back forward to the eye, set that inside the cradle. If you're not doing this with a camera in front of you, you can use the rotary feature on your vise. That'll probably be quicker. But I'm just going to wrap this forward, and I don't necessarily need to make touching wraps. Doesn't need to be perfect. Let's tie that down. Nice and secured. Perfect. Now I can get in here with my hackle, and what I like to do is sort of prop this up a little bit with my finger. If you have a few poking out the back, it's not going to matter. But I'll go ahead and I'll start wrapping this forward. And I'm not going to wrap this as tight as I usually would, just because I still want a little bit of that flash to poke out. So I think that's 4 or 5 turns. Then when I get to the head, I'll go ahead and tie that off right behind the eye. And what really helps here is if you push your bobbin back just a little bit, and that'll kind of keep the bulk from building right on top of the eye. So I'm going to push that back. And then before I trim, I like to whip finish just in case I do trim it and everything tries to fall apart on me. I'm sure you've had that happen before. Pull that away with my finger. And like I said, the thread color that you're using isn't going to matter. It's hardly going to be visible. Pull that down tight. Trim that up. Get in here with my scissors and I'll cut the rest of the hackle off. Try to cut it as flush as you can to the eye without cutting off extra fibers. And that's it. That is a San Juan staple for me. I love fishing this thing in the film. It's going to stick out and your fish are going to be able to see it a lot easier. I like to fish this on top, and then on the back I'll fish the same thing, but I'll fish one without the flash. So in a sense, this one will give you a visual cue. You'll be able to see it a lot easier and you can track your trailer fly. So I'll fish this on top and then I'll fish a plain black one on bottom. Size 20 to 22 Depends on the size hackle that you buy. That kind of determines what size you can tie these in. Should mention that this is the extra small size hackle. So make sure you get the extra small size, otherwise this will be a little bit on the big side. Unless you're tying something like a dead chicken, which is a topic for another video. Anyways, guys, fill your box up with these. I think these are really gonna work well for you. These take absolutely no time at all to tie up, and they work really well. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you in the next video.